So, making connections as a PGR student can mean multiple things, but I kind of see it as two levels. So essentially I see it as your professional connections and your personal connections. So professional connections can be anything from the relationship you have with your supervisor, your lab group, your PGR peers, the research community within Manchester, and across the UK and across the world. So that's kind of your professional relationships and professional connections. And then personal connections on the other side is essentially the people that you see and talk to as friends and family. Those are those connections that you have on a personal level. So that's how I see those two. So what I've done during my PGR career to make these connections on a professional and personal level essentially was something that's quite new to me, but essentially what I had to do was build an open line of communication with my supervisor, and that helped because I chose a supervisor when I joined the University of Manchester as someone that I could talk to in that kind of open level, someone that I could easily communicate with. And then it's just making and maintaining those relationships within your lab group and attending whatever conferences that I can find. Usually what I found was there was lots of local conferences within the University of Manchester for PGR students. A lot of them I didn't think I had enough data to present at, but it was always worth going to just observe what's happening at the University of Manchester, and then even taking a shot at trying to present something, whether that's a small poster or presentation, because it's worth being there and being present in that kind of research environment and then realizing that a lot of people are in the exact same boat as you. So it's maintaining and going to all these mini conferences. I've also had an opportunity of doing public engagement and outreach, so I've actively sought them out. Well, to begin with, I accidentally stumbled onto this situation, and then once you meet one person, they might open multiple doors for you to meet other people, and it's creating that kind of domino effect of meeting other people, making more connections on a professional level. And one thing that was definitely very helpful was opening a Twitter account on a professional level to connect with people within the University of Manchester and across the world, because the world is getting smaller, so having that as a way to do that is great. So that's like the professional aspect of it, but making personal connections here in Manchester, one thing that I've done is try to find, essentially make friends, and then to do that, being at a university, there's the student union, so it was just joining clubs and societies. And then I remember at the very beginning I was trying to decide between joining a hiking club or Run World Manchester as a running club. In the end, running was what I stuck with, but it was looking for these running groups and societies that might be of interest to me, and then making friends that way. Making connections as a PGR student has been very important because you need that kind of support in your PGR life. It's a frustrating and difficult time, and having that support network around you is incredibly important, whether that's professional or personal. And it's great to have that community around you. One thing that I found is that when you have this relationship network around you, whether that's PGR peers who are going through the exact same thing, or friends and family who have no idea what the science is, but having that network around you is great, because the PGR life is filled with peaks and troughs, and having people around you who might be going through the same thing is nice to know, because it's a roller coaster, so it's nice to do it with someone else essentially. So advice for being a PGR student and making all these connections around you. One of the key things was, on a professional level, is to keep those conversations going within your supervisor, your lab group. Email and have a chat with them. Face-to-face is always great. Making a professional Twitter account was a great thing to open up my connections. Within Manchester, at a peer level, you get to know people who are PIs within Manchester and across the world, and even getting a chance to bring in scientific TV personalities into the University of Manchester. Having a Twitter kind of interface was great for that. And then with the personal connections, it's just looking out for whatever societies or clubs that might be out there that might be of interest to you, of something that you already like to do or something that you've never done before but might be interested in trying out, whether that's photography, computer science, belly dancing, there's all these different opportunities out there. So it's actively going out to seek that out. And whenever you see an email for an opportunity, whether that's something to do in the lab, something to do in research, maybe something to do with something completely different, it's just taking that chance at saying yes rather than no.